Alright. Alright everybody, welcome back to the moth-hawk project. And today we're gonna be working on, well, you know, the leaves. So, I did some little, looking up some things. So I'll drag it right here. Come on, get it up. There you go. I did some research. And as you can see, well, the thickness of the trunk and all that stuff, all that lovely stuff needs to be done. And man, this thing sucks. Where's the slide bar on this one? Jeez. Alright, well, anyway, I did some research, so good for that. And today we're going to be working on the leaves. So, no further ado, let's get started on this. So, as you can see, this is the idea. And we're going to make it happen correctly now. So, let me see. Alright, I need to close this down. That looks lovely. Alright. So, since this is going to be a tree, we're going to be using the 3.6, I believe. Yes, 3.6. And then we're going to be just adding the stuff that we want. So how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to add all the tree leaves that needs to be done, and then, you know, add some more, well, you know, some more wood towards this, because, well, we need that. We have a thick wood right here, and we need to make sure that it all is done. Of course, all of this is a little bit iffy, as you can see. It's a lot of confusion because, well, all the colors are there. But yeah, the colors just don't need to pay attention on that. So we're gonna be doing the same thing as we did before. There you go. Switch that to, and that should work. Hold on. Need to fix this a little bit of grass. There you go. So yeah, we can now just continue working on this by adding the lines that we need to do. And then once the lines are there, we can then add some more of the effects on top of it. And because this tree is because we're gonna use the tree as an African tree, I think that is how we're gonna do it and represent it. So I need to take up a little look upon the picture, and then it should be fine. Yeah, exactly, like that. So we're gonna be just using this kind of tree to represent the big leaves, and as you can see, here, right here, you can see it really good. So these trees have like big giant plums on top of it with overgrowing mass, and well, you know, it's very extending. It's very nice to look at anyway. We're gonna be putting that a little bit in the representation. Of course, you know, these trees are very wide and big, so I want to give that effect as well to it, but I want to go for more like a spar. Yeah, the not leaf tree kind of effect. So I'm gonna be using like a leaf tree, but it has the effect of a non-leaf tree. So it's gonna be a little bit of a combination on both. Alright. Now, as you can see, the more we do this, the more better it's gonna get anyway. And I'm really happy upon how far we already add the drawing of this tree, and how much we did already. Of course, you know, we need to add some more stuff towards it because, well, you know, it's a tree, and I need some more detail. So sorry about these big giant tree leaves. Maybe we can move it up a bit so we have like the tree right about here, right here. I just still need to figure it out. But we're gonna do first one plum and then continue working onwards to the rest one of it. At least that's the idea. So we're gonna do one plum and then we're gonna continue with the rest. Of course, this tree is gonna be looking a little bit hard to do because, well, you know, we need to draw the tree leaves. And what we're now doing is actually only drawing the leaves. But of course, we're drawing the leaves in such a way that it might look like, you know, we're drawing height, but that's because, well, you know, I don't have a good texture for tree leaves. That's my main idea. Like, I need to figure out, like, how do I want to draw leaves? How do I want to draw them? How do I want to create the effect that I want? And sometimes that's a little bit hard to do. So that's why we're gonna now go for the leaf. That's why we're gonna go for the tree effect like this, and we're gonna add some cool drawing towards it. So actually, all of this is actually a big giant. You know, these are the tree leaves that are normally on the sticks, like so. So that's how it is looking normally. But how we are gonna do it is a little bit different. And we don't want to have the effect that is on the belt of the wings. So we don't want to have the feather effect that is represented in the bird. So we don't want this effect. Allow me to just show you. We don't want this. We don't want this. All right. We don't want to have that tiny bit of concentration on that. We don't want that. We want to have a tree that looks like this. So if we look now like this, this is the tree. It's going to be looking like that. And we're probably going to be adding this part a little bit upwards. So we're going to move it upwards, this part. So I believe we're going to move it then around here. Around here then, right? Yeah, here. That, or we're going to lower the amount of, or we're going to add it the tree combination here. I think that's the best part. So we're gonna lower the tree combination here, and we're gonna add some wood textures towards this so that we have that hanging kind of effect. Also, I should definitely add the other part here towards it. So we want that. There you go. All right. Easy as that. Now, of course, we need to make sure that we have the effect that we want, so we should definitely add some lines here that represent the trees that we want and how we want to have that effect being affected on the tree itself. There you go. Now, let's continue. And I need to keep it sharp, because we cannot have it to be ball. We don't want to have feathers, so we need to keep it sharp. go. And this should work properly well. So the whole idea here is that these things are actually quite easy to comprehend, I think. Well, it's just a little drawing of leaves, so it should not be that problematic. But it should still be able to do things quite well. So most of this is just, you know, drawing the leaves, getting towards the getting the leaves, and then doing the coloring of the first part of the leaf. So I'm gonna be probably doing this in multiple layers, this one, because, well, it's a tree, and the leaves, if I put it in one go, I probably will kick myself in the butt. That's not a very good idea. So to prevent that from happening, I should definitely do this in a way that, you know, it works well. You can already see how this is gonna be going, so I need to constantly change up the angle so that we can then move onwards towards the target that we need to do. So the more we do this, the better it gets. This is gonna be probably taking the most time of all the things, probably. Well, not if we take it in baby steps, but still. Yeah, if we take baby steps, it should be fine. It's not that hard. Just, you know, that it's a little bit of a dick of a tree. That's for sure. We made a mistake in the tree design, or, well, you know, it's not like, you know, it's the end of the world. We can still edit that. We just need to have the tree leaves now positioned so that we can then add the way of, you know, add the realization of the trees itself. So first draw the tree, then draw the leaves, then add the tree itself to fit with the tree leaves, so that, you know, you can get all the stuff within. So first the tree, then the tree leaves, and then added the tree again to fit the desired shape in the top part. And we didn't have that, so we didn't have the last bit. So we need to add that. This is a tree, so we should definitely add some lovely little strokes here. There you go. And everything needs to be close towards each other. Now that's more like it. So if we now go here, now we have this part right here, and we're gonna add stuff on this side. We're just gonna follow the lines that we need to draw anyway. And as you can see, I'm drawing the way of the grass, but I'm drawing it downwards. But it does give the effect of leaves. And I'm not drawing it like bird feathers, because the way of how it works, I'm drawing sharp and inconsistent. And because I'm drawing inconsistent in a line, it creates the effect of, you know, it's overlapping and it's not very nice looking. And that gives the effect of loose leaves. I think that's how I did it. But of course, you know, this is going to be probably taking a long time. And this is probably going to take the most time anyway. But it fills up the time correctly. You know, we're getting there. We're getting towards the part where we need to be. And once we are there, and things are gonna look bright and shiny. Because it means that we're almost finished. And once we're finished, then, well, things will look nice. Things will look great. And I'm very happy upon that. The main issue that I have with this is like, well, you know, the way of how things work. I'm trying to get this thing a little bit up and running, but it's so annoying. And I should definitely add some, yes, harsh strokes in there. To give the feeling of, you know, tree. Well, it already has the feeling of tree. It's like a rusty, hanging grass-looking leaves that are munched up together, and you know they've formed into a structure that works well. So now, since we're now there, we can now add the part we can add right here. And you can now see how this is all working. Because we're having like a very stationary point of view, we can just add here a bit, there a bit, and this is all, you know, the tree. There you go. Now we're gonna do a zoom out just to double check if we're doing it correctly. Probably the answer is yes. Well, the answer is yes. Lovely. It might look a little bit hastily drawn here and there because of how the things look, because it's overlapped. So this is the real thing. Alright, this is the real thing. So now we can see like, alright, did we do it correctly? Did we do it wrongly? I believe we did it a little bit wrongly because of how we anticipated the lines. Oh, no, lines. So technically we should not go for the robust, we're not supposed to go for the sharp lines here. So we're gonna remove this part right here. I know this sounds a little bit stupid, but we cannot have that kind of effect. So we do want to have some sharpness in here, but we're gonna remove some of it. And why we're doing this is because of the way of how these trees are looking. These are leaves. They are overlapping. They're not supposed to be fully meshed out lines. So we should definitely go for like these empty lines. They don't make any sense. This one right here doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. So we're going to be now very carefully removing the stuff that we don't want and add the stuff that we want. So some of this is actually quite easy and understandable, but other parts are like, whoa, very difficult. There you go. So this should work. There you go. So we're not supposed to go for tick lines. That's already noticeable. Does this work? Yeah, this works, but this part here looks a little bit odd. There you go. This is the main reason why I went for the other way around. So this part right here needs to be added. Alright. There you go. That looks decent. And of course we don't have to go fully sharp here. And now you're asking like, why is that? Why don't we have to go fully sharp? Because eventually this is going to be on a blur tool because, well, you know, it's the background. We're not supposed to go for background and foreground. So this should be a little bit less sharp. Now this is good. Yep, this is good. Only this part right here doesn't make any sense. There you go. Alright. Lovely. Now we can continue. So this needs to be a little bit less sharp. Like so. This part here is wrong. So now this should work. Alright. I'm gonna just double check. 24 minutes already in. Oh, it's gonna get spicy then. Alright, let's continue. So the main idea here is that I'm trying to do my very best to get all these lines up and running correctly. And we want to have as clean as possible drawing. That's the main idea. We want to have as clean as possible tree looking leaves. And I know that this might sound a little bit ridiculous, like, well, this is like, you know, a texture that should not, you know, how does this texture work on, you know, leaves? That you have like a big giant leaf tree, but, you know, it looks like a big giant, well, it looks like multiple moss layers of snot being put on together. Well, yes, that's exactly how these things are going to be represented. They're gonna be swampy, boy. Swampy. That's exactly what I'm gonna be doing in the background. As you can see, swampy grass looking crystals, and it's like overgrown trees, rocky grass already. So it's grass and rockiness. So why could it not have like swampy looking trees in there? Makes things more fun, exciting. But the main problem is that we need to add something like here, that there will be like split-offs. One goes straight in and one goes here fully connected. Because, you know, you have this big giant tree that, you know, it will be representing a lot, but it won't represent enough. So yeah, the tree might not look like, the tree might look odd now, but it will make sense. It will make sense. It will make sense once we're done. Oh, sneaky. But yeah, the tree leaves. It's a lot of work, a lot of consistency. You just need to do the same thing all over again. You just need to make sure that you're doing it on the right angle, because, you know, you need to have the tree, you need to have the leaves being moving with the shape of the tree. And if you do so, then, well, you know, you're gonna have a lovely tree looking effect, because, you know, you're stacking up the leaves on top of each other, like the feathers, but different, because these are not very they are not very big, so they're not like this. They are like this. Major difference. I could also go for like this effect, but I think that would be far too cartoony for these trees. Yep, they would be far too cartoony. The main problem is I am not very good at drawing trees. That's one thing. I'm not very expertise on it. I'm hoping that, you know, the trees will look nice at the end, but, you know, it's one of those things I need to learn. And apparently my approach was a little bit different than the rest, but than how normal people would do it. But I think, you know, once we're getting this all found up and done correctly, then this should be fine. I really like how this tree is looking now already. Anyway, even though, you know, a lot of the things are missing, a lot of the representation is missing, but once the tree is done, then, well, you know, all this stuff will be finished properly. It's all loose trees anyway. There you go. It's quite fun to see that this is actually working quite well. Alright. So what we're doing here is quite easy, the most fun. Because it's really relaxing, actually. You know, just drawing the bloody down tree leaves. It's like, oh, I'm making some tea, boys and girls, but no. You just have to add all the stuff that you want, and then just add the rest of it later on. Just don't think about anything else. Just think about, how do I want these trees to look like? I just figured out, like, well, I want these swampy African trees that look very big and very huge. Because, you know, I want to represent that they are in a big giant forest. Well, that and more. So I'm gonna go for that. Of course, you know, all these trees, leaves are, you know, all together. So I need to figure out, like, well, how do I give the tree leaves then a little bit more of a guiding tool? So, as you can see, there is now already a thing that I need to do. First thing I need to do is get this thing up and running, so that then I can get this spot right here fixed. Because now I have this. And I cannot have that. Well, I can have some of it, but I cannot have too many of it. The lines are very important, that they are in the right direction. Because the more stuff is in the right direction, the more it gets signarized. There. It's all the same, that's the idea. You know, you want to have them to represent all leaves. You don't want to have them to be representing something else. Yeah. Or almost made a mistake that I did it. Almost made a mistake that I went way too frequent on the same effect. That's also important to remember. Especially with trees, you don't want to have the bird effect on it. So therefore, you know, you need to take a little bit of a step back and then figure out, like, oh well, because I don't want to have the bird effect on it, I just need to figure out, like, well, how do I do then the other parts? So I need to have a little bit of variety in the texture that I'm drawing. Even though, you know, it's all handily drawn, yes, true, but it's not that big of a deal, really. You just need to focus on just drawing the same line, and then, you know, follow up that line to get to the right position. Because if you don't do it on the right position, then, well, you know, you're gonna have a lot of trouble later. So we're gonna have this right there, there you go. There you go. Easy as that. Alright. Ooh, there you go. Let's take a look. Lovely, that works well. Then I can now go that way and fix that part up. So we're gonna switch around again, go this way around, and then move it down. So what we're actually just doing is getting the damn thing filled up like a mushroom cloud. And that's the main idea that well, it's the main effect that I want to go for anyway. Because the more mushroom cloudy it gets, the better it gets anyway. So that's good. It's good. Good and fine and handy dandy. Because nobody wants to have a tree that looks horrible. Because, you know, you want to climb on the tree, you want to feel the tree, you want to see the tree, you want to be the tree. I don't know. Maybe not be the tree, because trees are quite boring to look at. But you just need to be making sure that the tree looks nice. So that, you know, the main thing that is standing in front of the tree looks better. And by doing that, that would actually quite work. It's the same thing as I went for the drawing I've been working on already, like, yesterday and not today, because today I was a little bit tired. But I believe I did some editing. Oh, and what I did edit was actually quite important, because, well, it made the look of what it's supposed to be looking like much more detailed? No. Much more realistic? No. Much more real in a sense of that the representation. Yes, the representation of what it's supposed to be was better than it was before. Because, of course, you know, you want to keep up that cartoony kind of feeling when you draw things. Well, with the drawing, I draw cartoony, so therefore I want to keep the cartoony feeling of it. But I don't want to minimize the art style. I do want to minimize the art style, but I don't want to minimize it totally. And so I have to think of like, how do I get from this art style to that art style to not doing the thing that I normally do when I draw cartoony. So I always have the hesitance when I draw cartoony. I always have the hesitance to, you know, draw more detail on it when it is unnecessary. But yeah, sometimes it is very necessary. You know, sometimes it's very, very necessary. So yeah, it's important that such things are, you know, that I need to keep on like thinking like, well, I need to do this or that and such and such. For instance, I wanted to have a texture on the stone, but I didn't figure out like what kind of texture do I want. I have no idea. My mind is racing and I cannot get a good texture on it when I just draw, because then it gets too detailed and then, you know, things don't go well. So what I did was actually using a pre-texture and then, you know, added that to, well, I used a pre-stamp to edit the texture towards what I want it to be. Of course, the texture is not as good as, you know, handily drawn textures, but it is good to see like, well, I needed that. Well, this is handy and I will use that instead. And it did create the effect that I wanted. So either way, it was worth it. Almost there. Come on. My hand is already very painful. Because, you know, doing this rapid movement takes a lot of energy out of your hand, and also it's not very handy dandy because you're doing the same thing all over and over and over and over and over again. So technically you should take a break once you're done with this in the first place. Because it's rapid movement. Well, it's not fully rapid movement, but it is rapid movement in the way of what I think it is going to be rapid movement. There you go. Now we can switch around. Like this way. You can already see how this is gonna get from point A to point B in the first place anyway. So this tree already looks decent. I'm very fond of what has become of it and how it is created. And we need to have, you know, all of the stuff that we want to begin with. We have the tree that we want, so I'm very fond of how far we are in this drawing. And I think I need to quit because of how painful the hand gets anyway. How much time? 40 minutes. Alright, fine, I'll quit. Yeah, Jesus. Normally I would have done this for 50 minutes, but I'm already feeling that my hand is getting like really sour. So that means that I have doing a way intense of drawing. But as you can see, this part of the tree will look nice and dandy once it's fully done. The only thing that we now need to do is like, yes, let's use this to, oh no, let's use this to get a practical idea what we're gonna go for. So what we're going to do is lowering this bit down so that you have this part right here. And you have this part right here. That's going to be upwards and into the thing. And let's see, this needs to be even spread out. So this part needs to be spread out like that. And this needs to be even spread out like that. So this part of the tree, this is going to be the thing that I'm going to go for. All right. So this is what I'm going to go for. This kind of effect. So this part of the tree is going to be like this. It's going to give the effect that we want because, well, you have this part right here that's going to be representing the second part that's over there. So we should definitely go for something like this. Thickness, yes. And then over here is going to be a third one. It's going to be like so, pumping up. And then, you have multiple big leaves that are coming upwards. So this is going to be empty. This is going to be empty. This is going to be empty. So yeah. This is how we're going to do it. Alright. So the idea is that we're going to add some more bits towards this. And why are we doing this? Well, because we want to have this tree to be representing how we want to be representing. So we want this big tree to be represented correctly. So we're going to do that. And then this tree right over here, I believe, yeah, right over here, it's going to have like multiple branches upwards, and then again like one there in such a way, so like this. So we have like multiple ways of doing this quite properly. Of course, this is going to be like one tree part, and then up there's going to be one upwards. This one is going to have like multiple parts here that have the bush. This one has then the bush. So yeah, it's going to be like lovely little bits that represent the tree that we want in the first place. So we have like a cool looking effect on the tree. And of course, there are going to be multiple tree parts here and there to fix all the emptiness in this tree. So it's going to be like a little bit of a bush tree, like a knotted tree. Yeah, like a knotted tree. Of course, like so. Yeah, like so. That would explain everything towards what the reader, no, what the viewer is going to be looking like. Yeah, these trees are knotted. These trees are knotted trees. They are like not naughty trees, but knotted. Like the little bit stop on the top. But they do represent leaf trees because they are really good at doing whatever they do. Namely, drawing leaves, producing these stuff that we want. And now I can add the part that we want like this. We have like multiple things like, oh yes, like that. And we can say like, well, since we need more effect in it, now we can add like this kind of effect. Yes, there you go. So yeah. That's what we're going to go for. This is what we're going to go for. We have trees that are big, huge, trees that are really well received later on. So I believe these things are existing, so therefore, they should be quite well. And then once we add the the other side here, we can also do that, like boop, and then big one right here, which has like multiple layers again. Boop, 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 boop. So yeah. So yeah. Alright, so now if we add the bird towards it, it should then be fully compatible. Bird. Does this give the feeling of a bloody dam? Does this give the feeling of a forest? Yes, it does. And does great effect that I want with the forest anyway. Alright, alright. Gonna be saving this bad boy up for today. And I think I'm gonna call it here. I hope you all have enjoyed for today. And thanks all for watching. And I hope I'll see you all next time. Until then, I wish you all a lovely day. And bye!